Alright, so way back when, I made a video about Ridge Racer Type 4, which is a great OST, and a lot of you guys really liked my video where I just talked about what made it so good. So, you guys then were like, hey, you should totally check out Ace Combat and R Racing Evolution as well. And I'm like, you know what, honestly, that sounds like a cool idea. I like talking about music. I'm a yapper at heart, right? So, I decided to look and talk about this new OST. Not new, it's actually like hella old. It's just, you know, new, I guess, compared like in video wise, you get what I'm saying. So I'm gonna be talking about, you know, R Racing Evolution, which unfortunately, if you ask me, it's not as good as Ridge Racer Type 4, not even close, but it's still really good. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. And yeah, by the way, last video, you know, Vivid Stasis video, right? Cheryl, I think, accepts my apology, said I did quote the bare minimum when I apologized, which honestly, as long as I'm forgiven, that's fine, right? They said I got, like, a lot of things wrong. They got a, quote, shit ton of things wrong. The problem is they didn't give me any direction. So, honestly, I'm a little scared to make a Chapter 4 video, because I don't know how badly I can explain it, or, like, how much worse it can get, because it can probably get worse. And, like, I'm gonna hold off on that. I'm gonna try and correct that Chapter 3 video. So if some of you guys are looking forward to that Chapter, 4 video, it's gonna take probably a month, honestly, because I don't know where I went wrong. So yeah. Anyways, enough said. Let's just talk about R Racing Evolution. Alright, so starting with the first song, Destiny, the intro song, whatever. I don't actually know what it's called. I'm just gonna call it the Destiny song. It's nowhere close to as good as the Ridge Racer 4 intro, and I think that's maybe because the cutscene isn't as good and stuff, but whatever. It has a vibe to it that is definitely more like a warm welcome rather than Ridge Racer 4's intro, which was like intense and had more of this like exhilarating feel to it. And you know, okay, this is a good time to explain that the 2000s vibe is definitely more noticeable with this game. It's not really like I wasn't really there, of course. I wasn't born during the 2000s or the 90s, so I don't really know, but I guess at least I can feel it, kinda. Anyways, this isn't a bad thing, I should say, but yeah. Anyways, this is not as good as Ridge Racer 4, as I mentioned, and it just sort of shows gameplay footage in like a cool, stylish manner compared to the Ridge Racer 4 intro, which was like, you know, full cinematic, and that's probably because R Racing Evolution had a lot of cutscenes that were very well animated, but they didn't, I guess, do like a, you know, intro cutscene, but that's fine. Again, I still think it's a really good, you know, song. It has this cool feel to it, and I like it, but it's just, again, not as good as Ridge Racer 4. And I will be comparing, again, this a lot of these songs I'm gonna be like comparing a lot to Ridge Racer 4, and that's mainly because I've been listening to it a lot, just in general. Like, I've always listened to it a lot ever since I discovered it and talked about it, non-stop listened to it, so I'm definitely gonna be comparing it to Ridge Racer 4, but, you know, I'm not necessarily gonna be doing it in a bad way, just gonna kind of show, like, you know, kind of like milestones or checkpoints or markers of where I can compare things and things like that. So yeah, I just want to say that. Anyways, on to the next song. Okay, so the main menu theme, I don't know why, but it kind of reminds me of like Terraria caving, I guess, for whatever reason. And I think it has to do with the blips and the rapid fire clicks that are playing in the ear, the synths in the background, everything just kind of merging together to make a really unique feel for a main menu theme. And I think it's really cool what it sets down, and it just feels like really more robotic, electronic, and overall the vibe is just definitely more unique. Again, not as good as Ridge Racer 4 in my eyes, but I should stop saying that because these are two different damn games, but, you know, I still say it anyways, just because listening to that OST, I've been listening to it while I go to college, so yeah, anyways. Alright, first racing theme in this YouTube playlist that I'm using for reference, Deep Resonance. And if I had to describe this song, it's kind of like the more electro-heavy version of Pearl Blue Soul from Ridge Racer 4, who would have guessed? I'm comparing it still. And it's interesting because it has this very simple start where you have like just like the beat and a heavy bass synth, and it slowly grows into this more like complex song, and it adds all these, I think it's subtracting, like something like that, like these subtracting synths or something like that. And I think it's still a really cool, relaxing song, and I think it just starts out really intense but slowly subverts your expectations as well. And then I think it's also really cool when they bring in these vocals and vocal samples and things like that. Again, kind of like Pearl Blue Soul when they say, I think, like Ridge Racer in the back and stuff, but it has its own unique spin on it. And overall, I just think this song is a really cool like intro song, assuming this is the first song you hear when racing. So yeah. Alright, so next song, Liquid Soul. Super relaxed song. It just totally feels chill, like you're sitting there just enjoying life, you know, sitting back enjoying life kind of song. The instruments like are pretty simple, but they are really used effectively in my eyes. You have these simple drums playing this little loop, a little hi-hat that stands out, and this really nice chill bass. These vocal samples just in the back, like singing in a very like operatic kind of manner, you know, I don't really know how to put it. And all of it just screams like relaxing and chilling out, and that's why I think the song is actually like really good, and it's just a really effective song at making you feel relaxed, especially during a race too. It can be a little more stressful for some people who aren't as good at racing games, but I'm sure people who play those games totally chilled out when like they listen to this song. So yeah, I don't know, this song just honestly stuck with me a lot for whatever reason. I can't really put my finger on why, but you know, it just sort of did, I guess. Okay, so Mars Landing is definitely a more unique and interesting song, and it starts out very intense. It's got this very snappy and broken up beat, and a lot of it is mostly just the bass and the drums, and then these other instruments and these other synths come in and layer on top and really brings it together. You'll hear different like samples and synths, and they all kind of make it feel very spacey. It's interesting because, you know, like the first part of the song is kind of like, you know, you're taking off in the spaceship, you're going or something, I don't know how. That was kind of embarrassing, I'll admit. But you know, it's kind of like you're taking off into space. And as the song progresses, it kind of feels more like now you're in space. You know, it's just a very unique progression, and I can't really put my finger on it why I liked it so much, but it was just really unique how it's kind of reminded me of like Rev Limit Funk, how they use like the synths to kind of like remind you of a car revving its engine. It's kind of like that kind of cool gimmicky kind of background song, but you know, done in a more unique way that actually goes pretty hard. And I just, again, really like when they introduce all these strange instruments. It's kind of a tongue twister, but yeah, it's just a really unique song for that reason. And I think you should listen to all these songs in general, but this one's honestly a pretty cool standout one, mainly because of the way it progresses and how unique it is in my eyes.
Yo, yo, yo! Ah!
Damn, this song goes crazy hard. It's like just the drums, the synths, the strings, the vocal samples, the slap bass, it's crazy. I think this song is absolutely fantastic. It has this 2000s like funk feel that makes you just want to dance and groove along with the song, kind of like, you know, something like Persona 4, honestly. And just listening to the song, hearing the strings get more and more prominent, just makes it even better. They really just tie the song in together, and it makes you feel like you're in a disco and you're just totally jamming out. Like, this song is just great. I think this is the one song, honestly, that I have constantly come back to repeatedly in this game's OST specifically, because it is just absolutely amazing, and it just makes me want to dance every time, and I'm always like grooving along with it. Again, like everything about it just comes together and makes this amazing blend of just a funky, fun song. And I just really like it for that reason. Again, this is probably like the best song in the OST in my opinion. I mean, you could argue, you know, other songs of course, but in my eyes, this is the best song undoubtedly for me, and it's just because it's just amazing. Anyways, with Funkatronic, or Funk-O-Tronic, whatever you want to say, this song is definitely more interesting because it's got more of this like compressed feeling to the song. You'll definitely hear it, and honestly, I think this song is best described as like a 2000s funk song, not like Divas, but because it's like more lighthearted and goofy, and I mean, it's just like a more fun, playful song. I mean, the thing is with this song in general, nothing much changes, which is fine, and I think it's a good enough song in general with just like the goofy vibe, and I don't really have much to say about it. And again, that probably is because I could have used a palate cleanser after hearing Divas, and I might be a little more harsh on this song, but I think it's just got this like you'll hear goofy little samples, like someone saying like something in the background. I honestly can't remember what they say, and it doesn't, again, change much, but I think it's still just a fun little playful song. Alright, so Rising is an interesting one. It's pretty familiar with, like, to me at least, and that's mainly because it's kind of like those like lock-in electro songs from Ridge Racer Type 4. You have the prevalent beat, synths in the back, pretty electro lock-in feel, like you gotta focus, right? But then it slowly changes into this more of like space feel. This song in specific, at least, it changes into this more spacey, ethereal feel, almost like it uses these little different instruments that drone in your ear, just, you know, tingles your ear a little bit, and it just makes it feel more complex and unique. And then when the beat drop happens, this synth chorus starts pumping in, and it's just like really good with the beats and the synths. and I just think it's honestly kind of like the electro version of Divas, and I really like it. Okay, so T-10 is honestly also pretty similar, but with a more of a compressed feel and more of a space vibe, which honestly, like in general, you'll notice that a lot with this game. Like, there's a lot of like, it's a lot of like, that's like 2 space songs, you know, that's a coincidence, right? Anyways, it's got this breakbeat and electro synths in the back, and you know, it's the usual, right? You know, lock-in electro song, right? But then it adds these strings, I think. I don't really know what they are, honestly. It's kind of hard to kind of catch on to them, and these little ringing noise in the backs. And it just and like this whole song just has this heavenly, ethereal feel to it that makes you feel like, you know, you're floating, you're ascending, right? And it's super cool that it brings this out, and kind of reminds me of like, you know, Your Vibe from Ridge Racer 4, which has the same thing where it brings out these like strings in the back, and it makes it feel so much more dramatic and operatic, or whatever the word is, I guess. I mean, T-10 doesn't do it that like Your Vibe, but it does it in its own unique way that I think is honestly really cool still. So yeah. Alright, so Monte Carlo is honestly like that one vacation song, right? And it just gives off like that day at the beach vibes, right? And that's primarily because of like the drums being like not your standard drum kit. It's like this it feels more like a bongo almost, or something like that, or like, I don't really know how to put it. Like it's something like that, right? And it's also like the piano, and it just like the piano has this one chord that just kind of gives off that like vacation vibe. You've heard it before, and I don't know how I can explain it, but it just feels like that, you know? Like, it's hard to say why, like how this all is, and you know, and especially later when they mix in this guitar they bring in later in the song, and it just feels like that beach vacation song. It's such an interesting thing because I have no clue why it feels like this, but it just feels right, you know, to call it like a vacation song, right? And I also like when it also brings these synths in the back to really hone in on the feeling of a racing game still, so you're not like lost in the vacation. Kind of reminds me of, you know, Naked Glow. That also had a really cool vacation vibe when I was playing Ridge Racer 4. Yeah, it just gave off that vibe. Again, I can't really describe why, but you'll definitely hear it, and I hope you can agree with me. I think Carmen, our next song, is best described by this one comment that simply just said good old mid-2000s house, because that's basically what it is. It's some chill, you know, house music. But again, it also has like this vacation vibe to it, not really the same as the beach vibes from Monte Carlo, but this overall feeling of like a vacation, you know, relaxing and stuff. And I place this mostly on the drums and the subtle windy synths in the background. And I also really like how they use the, you know, the vocal samples from Destiny way back, that first intro song. And it kind of reminds me of how, you know, I think they do this a lot in Ridge Racer games. You know, Ridge Racer Type 4 did that a bunch with their like, you know, like Ridge Racer and like, or something like that. I forgot how the samples went, but it's been a while since I've heard them. At least I don't hear them, but you know, they do it a lot there. And overall, I think it's just kind of cool that they do it a bunch. And in general, I think the song is just super chill and relaxing, and it's honestly a pretty good banger. All right, so Boombox is an interesting one. Its genre is definitely more unique, as it's something called breakbeat house, and it's from a somewhat like underground, underrated genre from what I hear. And it's this really cool song because that is something that I think is best described as a breakbeat, and it likes to flop between a more intense feel with the synths in the back and stuff that feel really heavy, and then it goes to more chill with these like vocal samples and lighter synths, all while keeping this, you know, heavy breakbeat. And it kind of flip-flops back and forth, and it's really cool how they do that. And, you know, this like transforming the beat and using it to in like a juxtaposition, you know, a juxtaposing way. You know, I can't really describe it. Again, I think it's just a super cool song, and I really like it for its unique style, and it definitely just, you know, is more unique compared to most songs in this game, having this kind of flip-floppy feel to it. So yeah. Alright, so the final song, I'm assuming the final song in the game, is Time Compression, and it's kind of a mixed one for me. I mean, it does have some good parts, and it has some parts. This one likes to just get really weird, and it'll have like this beat in the background, right? And it'll flip between a ton of different like samples almost. Imagine, you know, using radio and constantly switching between a ton of different stations really, really fast, and it kind of merges together. That's what this kind of feels like. It's definitely unique and actually really cool at some points. I think it's really cool when it has these synths in the back that are sampled, and it still has that radio station feel, but sometimes it's just okay and it doesn't really sound that good to me. But I do deeply appreciate its more unique take on a song in general with all like the cool samples and stuff. It's definitely a hit for some people, and that's totally fine. I just don't think it's my kind of thing. And yeah, and that's, I think, actually every single song that really does stand out in the game. There are some other ones, but I didn't really talk about them because they're kind of lesser and there wasn't really as much to say. So yeah. Alright, so all in all, what do I think of this OST? Well, I think it's honestly a really solid OST. Really, really good, right? But in my eyes, it just doesn't beat the Ridge Racer Type 4 OST at all. And that's mainly just because it doesn't have the same vibe that that game had, right? Ridge Racer Type 4 just has this indescribable aura, this feel to it that's undescribable, but it makes it so good, and I just can't place my finger on it. I mean, the unique songs ranging from jungle to breakcore to like electro rave, like that's cool, right? But beyond just that, there's something about it that just makes it so good. I just can't describe it. I mean, don't get me wrong, this OST that, you know, our Racing Evolution still has bangers and stuff like Divas and all that, and it's still really good. It just doesn't feel the same as that Ridge Racer Type 4 OST. But hey, that's just my opinion. You know, you can disagree with me, and that's totally fine, you know. Anyways, that's honestly it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. You know, subscribe if you guys want. I don't really care. I just like to talk. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time.